Testing. All right, it decided it needed to test my microphone. Let's hope and pray. All right. All right. Hey, good. Guten Morgen. Yeah. How's the audio in Nepal, Davista? Look at that. From Nepal to South Africa. From Chicago to Chengdu. Yeah, namaste, my good friends. Why don't we, yeah, let's see, where are you guys from? Netherlands, London, Nepal, UK. Oh, in Qatar, yeah. Joburg, Singapore, Portugal. Okay, yeah. London to Canada, Indonesia. Brighton Beach. Arizona, the other down under. Cool. Hey, good. Well, I'm live from Atlanta, Georgia. Good to see everyone. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Alabama? So, Juan, who do you... Is it like Auburn or is it Bama? Who do you? What football team do you go for? That's how you. Birmingham, pretty town. South Africa. Yeah. Uh-oh, rivals. Yeah. Anyways, let's get going. Trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of results. Also, don't risk when you cannot afford to lose. Something like that. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. No, it's not blah blah blah. You know, I had someone sitting in my home for 3 days, and all she did, well, she did a lot of things, but one of the things she did was for the entire 3 days is watch YouTube videos to ensure that every one of them had the visual and written disclaimer. And she found one that one of my other employees had done and didn't show the words, but he said it, and I was dinged for it. So let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were here. The audit was, I think, almost to the day 1 year. Yep. Oh, she was one of a team of 7 for 1 year. Oh, no. Yeah. So anyways, welcome to America. Well, yeah. Anyways, you better be rich because it takes money to lose money. All right. Do we got, you got colors? Okay. All right. Every time I'm in a certain situation, like the one I'm in now, I say something to you like, okay, guys, I need to keep this one brief. I really apologize. I have an examination, a proctored examination, and I need to take it like now. Okay, so yeah, at times proctored examination. So oh, well, it's difficult, right? That's the problem. The problem with Harvard is it's difficult, right? But anyways, I do want to spend time with you because you're important to me and you're my sweet baby. But it would be in my best interest uh, to save time. So anyways, let's spend some time together. Please help me get out of here, maybe at the top of the hour or something. I got to get on to, you know, calculations. All right, so I have a color over there. Oh, really? Well, my dad went to FU, so I think it's nearby. Yeah, no camera today because I got my laptop set up the opposite way, and I have 18 screens in front of me. So I don't know. It's not the typical setup. So anyways, don't worry about it. Forget about it. This is me in Dubai, my second trip, I think. So I don't know, 2008, 2009, 2010, can't remember. Anyways, good enough. It's a proxy. All right, so I wanted to start with Kiwi dollar because I think this is where we ended. So why not start here, right? Because I haven't touched the charts since then, right? This is my coaching setup, and I like to keep it as clean and genuine so that we, as possible, so we can see our past plans. And one of the things that we talked about, obviously, is that if you are a bull, you need to look for support. Now that's gap open support. Okay, how do you trade the gap? I'm sure you know how to do this. It's in the training course at FX Bootcamp, where you fill the gap and then you continue mission. Right? Fill the gap, continue mission. Cool. But if you're a bull, you want to find support. Where is your support going to be? Well, besides that gap open, there really isn't much, is there? Right? If you're a bear, I don't know. Seems easier if you're a bear, doesn't it? I look at that, you're like, no, man, that's definitely bullish. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, Wayne, if you put on the weekly chart, right? But anyways, yeah. But see, so this is where we are now, this thin green line. It's where we are now. Yeah, it seems like further down is a little more, right? Little more interesting, right? So we have sort of an M1, S1. So that's the M1. This is sort of an S1. Okay. Right? So you're, oh, I don't know. Maybe this is where you maybe it's the vacuum the office day. Don't vacuum the banana peels. How many times do I have to tell you? Like seriously. Like what? It's a Dyson. Ryan, do you know the difference between fat fingers and fat tails? I think that's on one of the tests. Oh, for hedge fund professional. Yeah, forget about it. Forget about it. Google it. Fat tails. It's in one of the certification. You have to discuss fat tails. So anyways, be careful if you're bull on this. Let's go back to our standard setup. What is that giant X and red line that I drew yesterday, 24 hours ago? What is all of that? Is that a buy zone up there, or is that a sell zone? Cool. So I made you money then, right? Good. Paid the tax. I went to a Scottish festival, and I was explaining to the kids the tartans and the symbols on the crests on the on the banners and on the shields and stuff. And I just happened to stop at this one family, and on the crest is a rock, and on top of the rock is looks like a fortress, and on top of that is a sword coming out of it. So we talked to them, and I said, "Well, do you mind explaining the meaning of your crest?" And he's like, "Well, there's a tiny island off the coast of Scotland about the size of this booth, 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet, and we put a castle on it." And of course, you know what that means. Any ship coming by, they're gonna, tax. But anyways, so pay the tax. Anyways, yeah, clearly a sell zone, right? So yeah, Forex is difficult, right? Boom, there it is. So you made money, cool. But it's only been down for 8 hours straight, Wayne, after touching the red line. Okay, you're right. Only 8 hours. Money, making money for only 8 hours. Cool. We got to be a little careful in here. Even if you're a hardcore bear, that is definitely a place where, that you should be concerned about, and your job is to manage the risk. Okay? Right? But what's your plan? Depends on which plan, right? You should be on your way down to 130. Let's just say 130. Be conservative. Aggressive is like 129.70. Like, really? You need those extra 30 pips? So anyways, we're on our way to 130. Yeah, but you're like, Wayne, that's only 200 pips. It's not enough for me. Well, sometimes you do have to, shoot at rabbits. Okay, John, I know 200 pips is beneath you, but now's not the time to be modest. Okay, but you know where you're going to be challenged, guys. So if it does go up and we end the week way up here, 134, the challenge is going to be here. Okay, probably not here. Okay, and we're probably on our way there. Any questions, any thoughts, concerns, comments? Oh yeah, well the next one, the next target, that's the weekly plan. The monthly plan is to take it down to, what do you want to call that? 28, 128. I mean, it's only 200 more pips, so 400. But that goes to our plan last week, last Monday. So right? Sweet though, right? I mean, you're starting to get it, right? Like these trades last months sometimes, right? 1 week, 2 weeks, way outside. So this creates a counter trend trade. Again, that's straight out of the swing course. It did create a counter trend trade. It went back 50% and rolled over. Well, this is our plan last week. Last week, our plan was sell it at 33 for a target of 28. It's actually less than 28. 27.77, right? You're like, well, Wayne, 28 from 33, that's only 500 pips. Yeah, sorry. right? So, you know, there are times when you should make 25 pips. There are times when you should make 100 pips. There are times when you should make a couple of hundred pips. There are times when you should make more. Okay, but I'm trying to put it like we talk about it every day. Pretty soon a week goes by. Pretty soon a month goes by. And you got to look back and say, well, you know, there were plans there, right? There are. I mean, what? Right, right. Am I right? I hope so. All right, Euro. Me. All right, so let's go back in. Not much going on here. Gap fill. Buyers are in here. Where are the stops? Yeah. Yeah, John, a friend of mine, when I told my father bought $400 worth of Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, he said, "Oh, well, you have to drink it with honey." I'm like, no, I don't sweeten my coffee. I don't add sugar. He's like, no, it's not sugar. It's Blue Mountain coffee. You have to have honey. I didn't know that. So I'll use agave nectar. It's all about the Thursday. About the Thursday. No trading. I'm thinking this is my answer. Yeah, that's all. So you went. So here's the reason I bring this up. This is how the market thinks. Are you ready? Oh my gosh! Do not call that a head and shoulders. You are forcing a dodecahedron into a square hole. All right. No. Oh, on a larger time frame, you're still. You see, it's not what's going on though. Okay. Okay, Hayden. It's just not. I just don't believe that that's what's going on. I mean, okay, look at the daily. Look at the day. Okay, no. Okay, maybe. Okay. I think what people are worried about is the central bank stuff later in the week. I don't think they're playing head and shoulder patterns. Like, put it this way: you had $1 billion. What are you paying attention to? The change in central banking policy or a pattern? Remember, the fundamentals create the patterns, not the other way around. Just saying. Okay, I'm not even looking at what you're looking at, and I'm poo-pooing it, but I'm trying to explain what I feel. Okay, this is how I feel because I'm in touch with my emotional sides. Okay, um, it's moving sideways, right? And obviously, there's a concern because generally this doesn't move sideways. This is 40% of the entire foreign exchange market of $6 trillion today, and it's not moving. So it's not a pattern. You see what I mean? So, anyways, those that have bought it near here, and their stop is lower, obviously. Where are the sellers? Really? Thank you, Ronnie. Gee whiz. Yeah. I love you guys. I hate cutting out early. Okay. But here's what I have to look forward to. The domestic U.S. market for plantains versus the world price of $3 a pound. The domestic market has a demand of 140,000 pounds, and the domestic supply is 60,000 pounds. 80,000 is imported. However, there's a price floor of $4. binding, non-binding? And if so, what is the shortage, or what is the supply, and where would the equilibrium be? And you're like, what? It takes me 2 minutes to read the question. There's 75 questions in 90 minutes. And then it's going to move you over to social welfare. And then you go to, whatever. Crazy. So what I'm saying is there are no sellers. Okay? You see what I'm telling you? I know there's no sellers because we haven't hit a sell zone. Buyers are buying, but they're not adding. So they're holding the market up at about the weekly M2, and I don't think by chance, 117.50. And there's no sellers. Okay? So CAD is ripe for something, is what I'm hearing. All right. I tend not to think that way, but okay. Just even the language. I know, thank you guys. But even just the language, you notice how I nitpick on language, like, oh, something's ripe. Oh, the CAD's gonna pop. I don't even like talking that way. It's like you got already something built into it. You've already cooked in baked something into the pie. You know what I mean? So, well, okay, but shouldn't we be more factual? You have a fundamental bias or whatever, that's fine. But like technically, higher, low, higher, low. So like, isn't it better just to say something like, in this area, market conditions are favoring bulls. And then in this period, we have generally consolidation. And then there was a breakout. Okay? And we are approaching resistance. The top of the market is likely to be 127.40. Why? Well, I see a cluster of resistance, both monthly and weekly pivots, and it's a double top. And any news coming up should provide some sort of volatility that should confirm these price levels. Okay? Okay? Just try not to pump adrenaline into this, all right? She's gonna pop! Careful, man, just careful. Thank you, Ryan. I'm looking forward to see what Plo says. We're approaching, at least a short-term top of the market, and it'll be interesting what the governor of the Central Bank of Canada is going to say, because it could provide the volatility to extend to these prices. Okay, something like it. It sounds better than. So anyways. Well, we can't talk about that CAD until we look at oil as well. Remember, there's a correlation between oil and Canadian dollar, but the central bank and its policies, are somewhat important to the value of the currency. It's not all oil, is it? right? They're correlated, but they're not pegged. But there is an underlying, if you will, sort of intrinsic value built in, I would think, since Canada does produce and export, more importantly export, a lot of oil. Seems like, yeah, you know, right? Yeah, and if you switch over to CAD yen, you take the dollar out and you put it against something else, which may be more macro related versus more central bank related, but whatever, right? Plus they're importing it, sure, right? Maybe not from Canada, but whatever, sure, I get it, right? Not arguing that. But if there's some sort of underlying intrinsic value baked into the Canadian dollar because of the amount of oil it exports into the global market, and then you look at that underlying asset and you find out it's generally sideways, right? Then you can kind of isolate that piece of the valuation. So if you had a model and say, well, how do you value the Canadian dollar? You say, well, we got this economic activity stuff going on, right? We have import-export data going on. How much is it importing? How much is it exporting? What is the policy of the central bank? More likely, what's the next change in central banking policy in Canada? Would that generally lead to an increase in the value or purchasing power, more specifically, in the Canadian dollar, or less purchasing power in the Canadian dollar relative to other foreign currencies? Right? Now you get a model. Okay. So again, I know I'm being nitpicky on language, and that's way more detailed of a response than typical. But again, it's the thought process. Yeah. Right. It's sort of a reminder that all of this isn't a video game. All of this is logic. All of this is logic, right? All of this is logic. So take that emotion stuff out. If it's fun, it sucks. If it's exciting, you're screwing up. Right? Yeah, I know. Remember yesterday, I said, right, something like, you want excitement? Jump out of a plane and only have your parachute open halfway. Oh, yeah. Dude, talk about an adrenaline rush. Woo-wee. Right? That'll be exciting. You'll never forget that. But I'm all about full parachute open. I don't know if you've ever skydived. It's pretty cool. You just float, and it's really nice. And you land on your tippy toes. Doop, 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 and that's that. But I would admit half a parachute's better than no parachute every single day of the week. I don't know what that means to currency trading, but I'm sure Buddha would say something. So, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Thank you for being a client of TradersWay. I thank you for your patience with me and your understanding that I'm walking into a timed, proctored economics examination, 75 questions in 90 minutes, worth 40% of my grade. So hopefully our little amount of time together today at least shows that you're important to me. And I don't take our relationship lightly. I'm verklempt. So, but I'll see you tomorrow and the next day. And the next day. Cool. Thank you very much. Let me leave you with this deep question for you to ponder. Is it a change in demand or a change in the quantity demanded? See, the problem is I got so much little time, and I'm slow. Like I read, I'm methodical. I read things slow, and like that takes me a long time. Like a change in demand or a change in the demand in the quantity demanded. So if it's a change in the quantity demanded, we're moving up and down the demand curve, not shifting the curve. Okay. See, I know it, but it takes me longer to even think about the question or read the question than most people take to answer it and move on because I got it memorized. I don't memorize things. So anyways, do I shift the curve or do I move along the curve? That's for you to ponder every single day. But how about this? What if the supply curve and the demand curve shift? Does the equilibrium price change? Or does it go up? Or does it go down? Or is it indeterminate? Have a wonderful day. Thank you for your understanding. Cheers.